Good afternoon, and welcome to another expletive deleted version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your excited and explicit host, Voice of Doom. Alright. I have an hour or so before I have to go to work, and I was going to take a nap, but there'll be plenty of time. I'll be hibernating most of the winter, since I will be living as if we've suffered an EMP, just to be prepared for that kind of existence. But I want to make comments about the aftermath of the massacre and offer a few political suggestions, and not to the D's, because they're not capable of learning, and I'm not going to rehash all of the commiserating and clutching of pearls and excuses and blame that the D's and the mainstream media are spewing, because it's been said on many channels. And, racism, and the people that are railing about how bad racism is are the ones that are keeping it going stronger than ever. Stronger than when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. Way more racism because of the D's and the media. Because they look at everything in groups, and the whole thing. I'm not going to go into that. Women are uneducated if they voted for Orangey. Uneducated women, all those barefoot, I made it through 3rd grade, I can do my letters. Condescending. I don't have to repeat that. You can go to a million YouTube channels. But what I will do is give a little strategy for Orangey and his group, who I will name my all-star group for him to think about later. But okay, the first thing is you got to end these conflicts somehow, and I'll show you how they're all tied together. The conflict in Ukraine, Orangey's going to have to go up to Zelensky and say, we got to call Putin and say, what can we do to end this? Because to fight it out, if no one's going to give an inch, is to just annihilate that whole area. So unless they want to work in line with the MIC to keep wars going and have people dying everywhere and just destruction, it's total waste, then there's going to have to be a treaty, a compromise, an agreement. And if they say, no, we are intractable, then it'll just get worse and worse and worse. So he will have to do that. Now, there's two things that kind of tie together. The Democratic Party and the Hamas terrorist situation, which are one and the same. Now, I hate to sound draconian. I really do. I don't believe in political parties. I've already said they're the bane of all humankind. Banding into two tribes and going at it, and we won't give an inch, and we will stymie you, and you will stymie us. So the country goes nowhere. It's obvious, but I've been against parties. But since we have them, I think we should have two major parties running for office. And that is the GOP and the Goppers and the Libertarians. What happened to the Democrats? Here's where Hamas and the terrorists come in. First of all, you're not going to win over an intractable enemy that's always going to come after you unless you annihilate them completely. We did not sign a peace agreement with Germany after World War II and say you can keep your Nazi party in there and we will just learn to get along. No. We are going to eradicate that party off the face of the planet. That's the same problem that Orangey's going to have with the Middle East. He's going to have to lay his foot down on the ground and say, terrorism has to be dealt with so bad that nobody ever wants to see a terrorist again in that area. If you do even the smallest thing, we don't even want anything. Just do one little thing and we're going to blow the hell out of wherever you came from and everything around you. So be prepared. But it's going to have to be draconian, and I'd say we do the same thing with the D's because they're lying piles of crap and they're not doing any good for this country. And here's how he's going to do it, or how I would do it if I was in charge. I forgot about more. It's not a trifecta of executive, Senate, and House, and Supreme. It's a quadrifecta. It's more of a quintella, because he can't run again. He doesn't have to worry about what he does, and he's probably not going to be impeached, especially if the House stays with the Goppers. There's no way he can be impeached unless he does something so heinous that the entire world will go against him. I don't see that happening. So he's in the catbird seat, and he should use that to his advantage. Not even waste a minute, since he has so much energy. Orangey's cabinet, J.D. Vance, Vice President. Alright. He's a good guy. He's smart. He looks good. He's young. He's vibrant. He's politically on the right side. He's articulate. Could go on and on. Orangey should mentor him. They should be at each other's side for everything. I won't say co-president. Orangey wouldn't have that, but I will say mentor him, because he's very strong in some points, and if he can learn Orangey's selling power and strategy with, negotiating power, then Vance will go down in history as the greatest president in history, because he will be elected with a landslide, because the D slate will be gone. There won't be any of that, because the party has to be dismantled now. How can you say that? They never do that. Okay. John Adams, second president, was a Federalist. That was his party affiliation. After George Washington said, don't have parties. Jefferson was his vice president, a Democrat. Now, they did things differently. It was a run-up. They didn't have tickets. I'm not going to get into the weeds. You can look all this crap up. Adams was the only Federalist ever. His party went by the wayside, and it became the Democratic Republican Party, and then the Democrats. Then the Whigs came along, and this was in response to Jackson's draconian attitude when he was a D. And the Whigs were very much like Rand Paul. They didn't want to expand. They didn't want power for the president or as much, and they just didn't want manifest destiny. They didn't want to take over. A lot of things would have been different if the Whigs had remained in power. We wouldn't be as big a country, and the Native Americans would probably control the whole western part of the United States. But that's beside the point. The Whigs had 4 presidents, and they were all lackluster and didn't get a lot done, just like the Whigs wanted. But there were wigs, and now there's no wigs. And we've gone through history back and forth with these goppers and D's. And now it's time for the D's to go. I hate to say it, but they will gel into another sort of party. They might merge with the Green Party and become the lunatic fringe party, whatever. We want to see so much radicalism that nobody will know who they are when they're born. And we want to make sure everybody hates each other. So that will be their platform. But here's the all-star class. It's what he should do with J.D. Vance. Mentor him, train him, work together, do some great things for 4 years. JD's in for 8. That's 12 years of gopperism. And the D should be extinct. Secretary of State, I was thinking Ben Carter or Vivek. We need somebody that's not a warmonger and, not doing stupid things in other countries. Attorney General Chip Roy. I guess he's a congressman, but I know you can't just pick people out unless you do it carefully. Like, I'll take a senator out. If the governor is a Republican, then he'll, do another senator. It's all very complicated. But Chip Roy, Attorney General, get to the bottom of everything and let the heads roll where they may. Get to the bottom of the COVID shutdown. Get to the bottom of the assassination attempts. Get to the bottom of the corrupt Petri dish regime. Get to the bottom of the pipeline blowing up. Get to the bottom of the pipe bombs not blowing up. A lot of things nobody even thinks. What happened with that? What happened with the pipe bombs during January 6th? What happened with the guy that was the whistleblower that leaked the Dobbs thing, whatever, abortion? What happened with that? Nobody knows. Because just a lot of people, they know what happened, but let's not talk about it. What happened with the cocaine? Nobody knows. But Chip Roy would get down to the bottom of that. Secretary of Defense, Elon Musk or Tulsi. She has military experience. She's not exactly a war hawk. Or Elon Musk, but I think that'd be a conflict of interest. I don't know. Health, RFKJ, of course. Press Secretary, Carrie Lake. She lost, I guess, in Arizona. It's astounding, but she lost. And she'd be a great press secretary. It's very easy on the eyes. I think she'd get a lot of views. FBI, Rand Paul. Advisors, Candace Owens, Winsome Sears, Joe Rogan, Tucker, Tulsi. There's different people I could throw out there. Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, all these guys. There's plenty of good advisors. Don't have to be politicians. They don't have to be wonk bureaucrats. Just get smart people. So, I think I gave you enough to think about, and I think this was a pretty good one because I gave you some concrete stuff there. So, I will try to get a few winks in before work, and have a good afternoon. Bye.